Yeah.
Let's go. We ride in Jesus' name. Bring Jesus in and shame. Declare Jesus to the end.
Well, good morning, Get Wrecked for Recovery crew. So it's day number 10 of the Redeeming Eden Cycle Tour, RECT, Get Wrecked for Recovery, a bicycle trip up the Atlantic coast of America to raise awareness that there are addiction recovery options available, that you don't have to die in your addiction. There's churches, Celebrate Recoveries, and rescue missions all over the nation, all over the world that just want to help you, talk to you, and love you if you find yourself battling addiction. So I'm here at Deerfield Beach. That's the name of the beach from last night that I didn't quite know. Stayed under this pavilion last night. You can see right there where my bike is. And yeah, I'm gonna put a photo up here of the moon that I took last night right over this pier. And it was just gorgeous. I mean, silver lining from the moonlight. It was beautiful. So yeah, today it is gonna storm, like starting at 11 o'clock until probably late tonight. It's gonna rain all day, and then I'm gonna have high winds all day tomorrow, a north wind that's gonna buffet me all day tomorrow. So I'm getting started out super early this morning. It's like 7 o'clock. I got up at 5, got everything packed up, all the things done that needed to be done. And I'm gonna go as far as I can. I think there's a state park near Jupiter that I'm gonna try to get to, and that's about 65 miles. So another potential metric century, this time in the rain. Again, those are my plans. I never know how it's going to end up working. The more miles I do, the less people I get to stop and talk to. So there is a balance, but either way, I'm going to get on the road, and you'll see that right now. Alright, so I am riding here through Boca Raton. I feel like Boca is one of those, terms I've heard before, people really ritzy, hoity-toity, what are you doing this weekend, Jim? Oh, heading over to Boca. Gonna take the yacht out for a couple days. Anyway, that's my thoughts from the road for this morning. So I stopped on the side of the road back there under some mangroves and took a little break and reached out to Karen Weber to let her know that I was riding for her daughter today. Now, this is Karen Weber. She is one of the cyclists that was on our C train, and I'm so grateful to have been placed behind her because she was just steady. As a matter of fact, we have this thing at the ends of the Earth cycling tours at the end where we go around and we say one word about a person and kind of what that meant to us. And so my word for her was steady, because really this was the first Peloton that I had ridden in, taken part in, of any kind. And so to be behind someone who could keep their mileage at like the points, 10.3 or 13.8, and just hold it there, was pretty incredible. She's a super athlete, and she was one of the ones who stopped on the way back, her and her boyfriend Todd, and gave me some water and talked to me for a little bit, and ended up giving me a rather large donation too. But either way, it wasn't just her steadiness on the bike that impressed me about Karen. What really impressed me was that, number one, she had a shoulder surgery recently, and she would ride when she got into her position, and she would hold steady with one arm on one of the handles, you know, her right arm kind of tucked. And so it was just amazing to me to see that kind of perseverance in action through, you know, pain and struggle. And the other thing that really stood out to me about her steadiness was she was just a super, super cheerful person. And it wasn't until like day 3 that I found out that she had recently lost her daughter. And it just blew me away because I couldn't find any situation in my own life where that would be me. Like, I can understand it, but like I've said before, I think there's a grace that comes from God that a lot of us won't ever have to recognize or have to understand or have to even receive from Him because we're not put in that position. And so until you are, I don't think that you can comprehend what it takes to lose a loved one. That's why I ride and pedal for people who've passed away. It's because, look, these were friends, family, loved ones, people who they cared for and cherished dearly. And all of a sudden, in a fell swoop, they're removed from their life. And, you know, in some way, I hope that the rides bring some kind of closure and celebration to the time that they did get to spend with them. But, yeah, Kendall was her daughter. And, you know, these are some of the pictures, and she was just a beautiful young lady. And so I cannot imagine what that must have been like in her situation. And I'm praying for her and her friends and her family like I do every day. Keep your eyes open today as you go throughout your life and your walk. Because a lot of times you won't even know what someone might be dealing with, what they might be thinking, unless you sit down and you talk with them. And, you know, really find out what's going on with them. And let's be the body of Christ especially for our friends who have lost loved ones through just a terrible set of circumstances between drugs, alcohol, anything else. Kendall's passing wasn't drug related, but I felt compelled to ride for her for a day. So that's what I'm doing today. Anyway, I'm going to quit talking now. I love you guys. I'll see you later. Okay, 2 quick things. So, first, I tried to fly my drone, but because of my beach footage earlier, my charger port has got water in it. And the controller for the Mavic Mini hooks up through that port, and it's telling me don't do it. So I'm not going to do it. Second thing, I need to make sure I've got my GoPro on like more often, or keep the batteries swapped out, come up with a better routine. I just saw it could be a picture in a magazine, It was I would have to say she was probably in her early to mid 80s. Elderly woman, white hair, whitish kind of gray hair, swept back, right? Face leathered and tan, no helmet on, riding an old Indian motorcycle. And I mean, she almost, the way her face looked, she almost looked like a Native American because of just the weathered, sun-swept look that she had. But I wish I would have had the GoPro on for that. I would have taken a screenshot and made that like a picture for the wall. Because it was just like, it was iconic. That's the best way I know how to describe it. Anyway, I'm going to keep rolling. Alright, so I just went in here and ate at Sergey's wood-fired pizza. Man, it was so good. So the guy that I was following there on the bike path, his name was Freddie, and I was like, what's good to eat in town? And he said there's this section of town right here that's just got some incredible little art galleries, shops, and restaurants. So when we rolled in, I was like, what all kinds of food? And he said, well, they've got pizza. I said, sold. So I looked, you know, for a jalapeno-roni pizza on the menu, and they had this pepperoni saison, which had like red peppers, jalapeno, like pickled jalapeno peppers, pepperoni. It was amazing, but it also had honey drizzled on it. And I tell you what, I did not think that that would be something I'd like on a pizza, but I like that on a pizza. It was so incredibly good. So if you're doing the East Coast Greenway, this is like a block away, and it's so good. Best pizza I've had so far on this journey, bar none. All right, love you guys. See you later. Alright, so I just stopped here in Jupiter, Florida to sit under these pavilions here in the shade for a minute, and yeah, I contacted a state park that's down the road, and they do have a spot available. They said as long as I get there by 7:30, then I'll be good. It's like 6.5 miles away, and it's 5 o'clock now. No, I'm sorry, it's 4 o'clock. So I don't have that much farther to go, and I think I'm going to be a little over 50 miles, which is solid. I'm happy with that. So yeah, I'm gonna get on the road, head that way, and get some more of that right about now. Well, as you can see, I made it to Jonathan Dickinson State Park here in Jupiter, Florida. I just beat the rain, got in, and it started storming. I put everything in the tent, had to sort it all out inside the tent, which is not my norm. So I'm trying to think through my routines just to make sure I don't do anything silly. But yeah, went ahead and got a shower real quick while it was raining. Talked to my wife, and now it's just windy. Like, it's the whole tent's bending over a little bit with the strong winds, and those are supposed to stay strong all day tomorrow. North wind. It's gonna drop, you know, a good 10 or 15 degrees. But hey, at least we're not in Kansas anymore. Golly, how about that temperature drop there? 105 to 43. So not worried about this one. Anyway, yeah, it was a super productive day. I think I went like 52 miles. I can only credit that to, you know, waking up at 5:30 to make sure that I beat all of the sunrisers to being there at the pavilion I was at. And yeah, I ended up going about 30 and looked around, and there was a place I could stay, and I was like, it was noon. And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna stop now and have 8 hours, you know, in the tent. But I'm done for the night. By the way, the light that I just bought recently is a makeup light by e.l.f. It's a makeup ring light. You know, I ain't got no shame. I'll shop the makeup section for bike, you know, video gear. So it's so much better than trying to use the Lucy light that I hang from the top of my tent, because the Lucy light, for some reason, would make like a, let's see if I can get it to do it, would make like a strange recording vibe. Like, I could never get the light just right because of the shadows. So this goes right around the camera hole, and it I can set the brightness on it. So if you're a YouTuber or a bike touring crazy guy like myself, then this is beneficial. Super lightweight and does the job. But yeah, if you know anyone who's passed away from addiction in any form or fashion, please drop their name in the comments or find me through the Popple link below in the description, and I would love to ride for your person and celebrate their life with you for a day. And that Popple link also, remember, I'm a brand ambassador for Popple. So you can set up a Popple profile for free, just like the one I've got, better, you know, with all of your information in it. And if you choose to buy a physical Popple, I make a commission and you save 20% using the code REDEEMINGEDEN at checkout. Nobody's bought one yet, so I haven't made any money that way yet. But that is one way to keep the Ride for Addiction Recovery awareness going. And don't forget that Redeeming Eden is a non-profit ministry through international gospel outreach. Finally found a way on Facebook to be able to make donations to international gospel outreach and have them pay me from that. So now your donations on Facebook are tax deductible, which is cool because it hasn't been up to date, and that was a really funky thing with trying to file taxes this year. I actually didn't make enough in donations last year outside of the IGO stuff, well, with the IGO stuff at all, to even be a tax filer. I think you got to make like $12,000. I think I made $8,000 total last year, and I spent every dime on the last two tours. So every dime does go to Redeeming Eden, the ride, and any funds left over will go to building Redeeming Eden, the garden rehab. So from here at Jonathan Dickinson State Park in Jupiter, Florida, I love you guys. Jesus loves you. I'll see you later. Have a good night. Yeah, I think this one's pretty much about over with. Checkmate.